So, hello everyone, Roar and War here, and today we've got you the starter deck '09. It's the most recent starter deck from the Assault of the Saiyans set, and it's the only starter deck because the other one is actually called an expert deck, and that is a little bit more advanced for what we've got here. So, we've actually avoided all the trouble, and we just basically opened up the set that I had, and this is my brother's set. So we're actually just going to leave this in the background ever so slightly, and we have the 5 and 4 Dragon Balls to emphasize starter deck 9. So we're going to go over a little bit of what we've got in this deck. And basically, it revolves all around the leader card, like most decks do. But what we've got is the King Vegeta leader. So basically, if we can get this to focus here, I apologize. Sorry. Okay, anyway, I can read it to you. You can just look at the pretty card. You can permanent. You can't include non-Saiyan battle cards in your deck. So basically, everything's got to be a Saiyan, or it's just pretty much nothing. So along with that, you've got once per turn, choose one card from your life and add it to your hand. So it's a little bit. There we go. Choose one card from your life and add it to your hand. Look at the top 5 cards of your deck. Choose up to one red or green Saiyan card or a King Vegeta's Dynasty among them and add it to your hand, then shuffle your deck. Now, the King Vegeta's Dynasty is the next card in the set here, and the starter deck comes with 2 of those, one hollow and one non-hollow. So you can see that a little bit coming off the card there. So this card is actually the key to its awaken skill, which is this is the first card in the entire Dragon Ball set that actually has a different awaken skill as opposed to the other cards. And basically, right here, when you have King Vegeta's Dynasty in your battle area and 3 or more cards in your energy, you may draw one card and choose up to one of your energy and switch them to active mode. Then flip this card over. So with that said, this is a very unique leader. So you can still technically be around 8 health. The activate once per turn skill essentially kind of depletes your life a little bit. But aside from that, if you manage to draw a King Vegeta's Dynasty on your first turn or your mulligan, then you really don't need to use this ability like right off the bat. You could use it later down the line or not even use it at all and still be able to awaken with no problem. So once he turns over, he becomes a little bit more threatening, and it says here, activate main once per turn, choose one. You may choose one red or green Saiyan card in your battle area and place it in its owner's drop area. If you do, draw one card, and this card gets 5,000 power, and double strike for the duration of the turn. Yeah, I lost my spot there on the card. My apologies. So essentially, with that little bit there, that's just one. That whole thing is one whole ability. Activate main. You discard a Saiyan card, and pretty much he gets up to 20,000 power, and you get an extra card in your hand. So that's pretty good for attacking, considering that it may be, a lot, especially with this second part here. Choose one battle card in your hand with an energy cost of 2 or less, and play it with its skills negated for the duration of the turn, then draw one card. So with that, this little card here can actually pull low-level Saiyan cards from your hand and just play them out onto your battle area. So with that it's easy to get low-level Saiyan cards up into your battle area without having to pay the energy cost for them. And considering that this is a very low requirement awakened skill to get to this point on the second choose one, it's fairly easy to get a lot of low-level Saiyan cards, and then you can even sacrifice those cards for the first part of the ability to then draw one card, and then he gains 5,000 power up to 20,000. And then you could just decimate your opponent with low-level combos and stuff like that, which kind of goes into one of the plays with some of the other cards that are in the deck that are starter deck only as well. So to first go over so we'll put him here. I lied. We're going to put him there. So this first card here, this is King Vegeta's Dynasty. And what this basically is a field card that allows you to awaken, first of all, and it also allows you to get battle cards to negate. Let's read this here. Field, everybody knows what that is. Energy Exhaust, that's something new to this, I believe, this Assault of the Saiyan set. So if you tried to play this as energy, it comes in rest mode. So that's what they call the Energy Exhaust. There's a lot of different cards with that now, but basically you don't want to use this as energy unless you're absolutely desperate. But then again, it really doesn't help you out unless you're going for the long run here. But auto, when this card is placed in your battle area and your leader is a King Vegeta card, which, kind of goes without saying, choose up to one Saiyan card with an energy cost of 2 or less in your hand and play it with its skills negated for the duration of the turn. If you played a card, draw 2 cards. And then it says auto in the second slot. When your opponent attacks with a card, you may choose one red card in your energy area, switch it to rest mode, and place this card in its owner's drop area. If you do, negate the attack. So this is a very versatile field card. And considering that it actually does something very similar to King Vegeta's ability, it allows you to get a 2-cost Saiyan in your hand out onto the field. And then you can play 2 cards. You can draw 2 cards with this. But this isn't auto when you first play the card. This isn't like activate main once per turn or anything like that. So it's pretty cool to pay 2 and then get a free 2-cost Saiyan card out on the battle area as well. And draw 2 cards. It's kind of like a sweet deal. And the fact that if you chose to look for the on King Vegeta's first side, you could choose to look for this card, and if you do get it and you have 2 energy out here, you can actually play this, get free cards up here, and then you actually get to draw 2 cards after you play this. So that's a pretty sweet deal. And you get 2 of those in the starter deck. So that's the bummer about this, is that these starter only cards, which there's 5 of them. Nope, there's only 4. So there's King Vegeta's Dynasty, and we're going to go over these cards in detail as well. Raditz Earth Invader, there's 2 of those. Vegeta Royal Prince, 2 of those. And this sweet looking card, Faded Kaioken Son Goku. You get 2 of those as well. And this is the kicker. This is the big one in this deck. So we're going to go over the smaller ones first. First up we got, and then the rest of the deck will look very familiar to everybody who's played this game for a long time. And newcomers even. So we'll go over this card first. So right here we've got Raditz Earth Invader. Please focus for me, baby. Yeah, come on. You know you want to. We have to really set this camera to be just better. Focus on my hand. We can edit this, right, Reedy?
Yeah.
Sorry.
Check the non-hollow version. Maybe it'll focus.
Oh, maybe. Sorry, Reed's been in here the whole time. He's been just observing how dumb I am. So what? The top of it? The top? All right, whatever. So, okay. Oh, before it goes out of focus. My bad. Raditz, Earth Invader. Auto, when King Vegeta... Oh, by the way, it's a 2-cost green card. 5,000 combo power for 0. And it's got 15,000 power. Auto, when King Vegeta's dynasty is in your battle area, is placed in its owner's drop area. Excuse me. Wow, that was very difficult for me to read. So basically, when it's discarded from the battle area to the drop area, activate this skill. If Raditz Earth Invader isn't in play in your battle area, you may play this card from your hand. So, boom. You actually get free plays off of that card just going to your discard pile, which can be used to negate an attack. So, with that, we'll hop over to the next card, which we will use the non-holo version, and we will make sure we look at the top of it here. See? Wow, super easy to get that to focus. Alright. Vegeta Royal Prince. So this is also a 2-cost, 5,000 combo power for 0, but it's only a 10,000 power. But its ability is activate main. Once per turn, choose one card in your life and add it to your hand. This card gets 5,000 power and critical for the duration of the turn. So this is more of an attacking card. So with that said, it's pretty... It can be pretty devastating early on because it's only a 2-cost. And it's a shame that it gets only 5,000. I think if it got 10,000, that'd be a little bit more beneficial. But it's a 2-cost 10k, and it's got the ability to add the life to your hand too. So which some people do on purpose to try to evolve or awaken, excuse me. But with the way that this deck works, I don't really see a whole lot of play coming from this card, just because it's got that whole sacrifice of life to just gain 5,000 power, where a lot of green and red Saiyan cards actually already have 15,000 power and either an ability or that is just straight blank, which when you bring cards out with either King Vegeta's ability or the Dynasty, when you first play it, the abilities are negated in the first place. So it's kind of like this card is just meh. I think that's the meh. The Raditz cards I think are definitely better. But then we get to the creme de la creme of the deck here, which is Faded Kaioken Son Goku. So we're gonna get him into focus here. We're getting this down. It's got a beautiful sheen on it. Maybe if it feels like focusing again. I love the stamping on this card. So we've got Arrival Red Green. Play this card from your hand with when you have red or green cards in your combo area. So to explain that a little bit, basically you can play this card from your hand when you have comboed with a red or green. And an even crazier thing is that if you comboed with a red-green card, just the way that this one is, so see how it's red and green here, that actually counts for both the red and green. So this can be played if you comboed with a similar card to this color's card, which is the red and green. And it just comes right from your hand. Then it also has Energy Exhaust, which I explained earlier. Basically, if you try to play this as energy, it will come in rest mode. Then permanent. Only one Faded Kaioken Son Goku can be played in your battle area. So basically it avoids you from spamming these. Because basically if you had 4 of these in your hand, which would be ridiculous, you could actually play all 4 if that wasn't in play. But to reiterate, you got a red-green cost of 4 here, which 1 green and 1 red. Combo power of 10,000, and it costs 1 to get that 10,000. It's got a 20,000 battle power. At the bottom there, you got activate main once per turn. Choose one card in your life and add it to your hand. If your life is at 3 or less and your leader card is Saiyan, is a Saiyan card, this card gains double strike and dual attack for the duration of the turn. So, when you get this out there, if it's late game, this thing is insane. You get this thing and you just basically play it out. And it can be played on the defense step of your own, or an offense step of your own. So if you're being attacked, you can actually have a combo. Say you comboed with the other one. You comboed with one. That's here. You get that 1,000 or 10,000, excuse me. Combo power. You block the attack. But since this is in your combo area, or if you had a red and green other card, you can actually play this after you've been attacked in your battle area. I'm sorry, what was that?
If you have the energy.
I thought it was because you have to still pay the 4.
No, you gotta pay the 2.
I thought that was this. That's what I understood that as.
No, you still gotta pay the red and the green energy.
Hey, these new combo cards with the dual cards, I should say. Hey, man, I am still learning. See, I was under the impression that you'd had to do this. But with that said, still, if it's late game, there's a good chance that you have built up plenty of energy, which, by the way, when you have these cards in your energy area, if I'm not mistaken, they count as red and green. They can't count as 2 energy, but if you pay with this card, it can be green, and then you can play cards like this Vegeta card, which is just a solid green color. So, Reed is like the producer, and he's sitting there and he's saying, hey, you're wrong. It's this way, which I'm totally fine with, because we're learning as we go, because we all don't know everything. It would have helped if I read the rules a little bit. But I was basically, when I was doing this setup for all the pre-pro stuff for all these decks, I actually just went through what I've seen, and sadly I just did not read that one section. I must have missed that. That's my bad. So with that arrival right here, you have to pay the red and green cost, as well as have that arrival there. So the arrival, you have to have the green and the red inside of the combo area. Then you have to pay a red or green, which can be a red or green card, red and green card, or a red or green separate cards. And then you can take this, play it out. Boom, you have a 20,000 new defense card that you can block with if you need be. Or attack with early on in your next turn without having to pay 4 energy. So that kind of covers the starter deck only cards. So like I said, there was 4 of those. So you got King Vegeta, then you've got the King Vegeta's Dynasty, which is the field card that allows you to get some cards out sooner than others, and just like low level Saiyan cards. This is actually the highest cost card in the entire set that they gave you, which, going over the rest of the cards here, you'll see how they're very familiar. So we've got Saiyan Kaba from the very first set down here. This is the BT1. This is one of the first cards that you ever get. This is actually like really early on. It's number 14. So you got 4 of him. So he's low cost. That's 5,000. He's got his own ability. Everybody's seen that card. Then you got Full Powered Energy, which is from also BT1, and you get 4 of those as well. And then you got Quick Rush Trunks, which he was from BT3. That was Cross Worlds. And it's ridiculous. He's a 2-cost red critical. Now, if you pull him out with, which you get for him as well, but if you pull him out with the King Vegeta's Dynasty, sadly he won't get the critical because all of his abilities have been negated. But still, that's all. I think in terms of power and ability, if you were to pay 2 costs, I'd rather pay 2 costs for this, because that's actually got an ability that doesn't drain your life, unless you're looking for cards in your life, or you need to have your life low enough to activate his ability first, for instance. Which, again, to reiterate, is activate main once per turn. Choose 1 card in your life and add it to your hand. If your life is at 3 or less and your leader card is a Saiyan, this card gains double strike and dual attack, which is pretty crazy. So maybe lowering your life down a little bit isn't too terrible, but then again, you've got these low cost cards with still 15,000 power. And there's actually cards that are 2 cost that are 20,000 power. Typically don't have any abilities attached to them though, but that's not a big deal. So still from BT3, we have Trunks Bridge to the Future, and that is like I said, a BT3. That's Cross Worlds again. Auto, when you play this card, look at the top 2 cards of your deck, choose up to 1 Saiyan among them and add it to your hand, then place the rest of the cards in the drop area. See, like, that's essentially, I don't want to bring in Hearthstone, but that's a tracking from Hearthstone. I know other cards have also had, in card games, have actually had the similar effect, but the fact that you can get this and play it out without actually having to, You can play this out and then essentially get more Saiyan cards in your hand quicker. And, sadly you discard it, but... So you got that one, and then you got Charge Up Son Goten. Get him into focus here. He is from BT4, which was Colossal Warfare. Oh, come on, baby, focus. There we go. When you play this card, you may choose one card in your hand and place it in the drop area. If you do so, choose up to one energy and switch it to active mode. So that's pretty cool. That's actually nice to have something like that. Also, 15,000 power. You only get 2 of him in this one, though. In this one, though. Digging Deep Vegeta. He is actually a 3-cost. So it's sadly you won't be able to pull him out from the abilities from King Vegeta or anything like that. But auto once per turn, when this card attacks, you may choose up to 2 cards in your life and add them to your hand. If you choose to add 1 or more cards to your hand, switch this card to active mode and it gains 5,000 power for the duration of the turn. You get 4 of him. So that's another way to get life into your hand, and also to power this card up to hit him a little harder. After image technique, these are actually your standard counterattacks. They involve sparking 5. So this is all from the Miraculous Revival. I almost called it Miracle Revival. But you get 4 of those too. So they're pretty awesome after image. Counterattacks, which your leader card is red. Choose up to 1 card and it gets 40,000 power for the duration of the turn. Battle, excuse me. Then choose up to 1 opponent's battle card and it gets minus 10,000 power for the duration of the turn. So this is basically just souping up your cards, so that way it's really tough for your opponent to take down.
Also, another thing to note, that if you reduce a battle card's power to 0, it gets discarded.
Keep that in mind, ladies and gentlemen. Don't let a battle card get to 0, because that means it has no power. Therefore, it has no life. Therefore, it gets discarded. Moving on. This is what I was talking about. These are solid, powered, 2-cost, simple cards that just basically they come out and they're just super strong right from the beginning. You get 4 of these puppies. These are Super Saiyan Son Gokus. These are from the Miraculous Revival set as well. And they're just super strong, super easy to just get out and hammer away at your opponent's life. But then, can't leave out, oh man, the super combos. They're so good. And you actually, no, that was the other deck that I was thinking of. So these super combos are super great. This is BT6, which was Destroyer Kings. That's right. Support attacks on Goten. So he's got a 0-cost 10,000, which all super combos are. But you can only have 4 super combos in your deck. Doesn't matter if they're different names or anything like that. These super combos are limited to 4 no matter what. If it's got super combo in the text area here, then that's it. That's all you get. When you combo with this card, if your leader card is red and your life is at 4 or less, draw 1 card. So that's an easy way to soup up a battle card's power just without having to pay any energy, and you basically just draw a card, assuming that you're 4 or less. And I love these cards. They come in super handy. You typically don't play these cards on your battle area. You keep these in your hand, so that way they're great backups when you need an extra boost in power. So then these are actually these last 2 cards here. You get 4 each of them. These are brand new BT7s. So this is from this set, Assault of the Saiyans, and these Saiyan cards are pretty crazy. But Raditz the Oppressor, it's a 1-cost. You got 5,000 combo power. It's only 4,000 though, so that's a bit of a bummer. But it is only 1 cost. But its abilities are pretty cool. So when you play this card, draw 1 card. Great. Play this out, get another one in your hand. More power for later. But then you got the auto. Once per turn, when your opponent switches energy to active mode using a non-awakened skill, so like that Goten card we talked about earlier, Which actually this really pertains to blue decks. This is actually something that a lot of blue decks can do, because a lot of the blue cards allow you to just basically get energy back and get energy back and back and back. There's actually the zero cost Zeno button card that I personally love. My main deck is a blue deck that involves all about gaining your energy back. But anyway, when your opponent switches energy to active mode using a non-awakened skill during their turn, choose up to one of your opponent's energy and place it in its owner's drop area. So this is just super. This will just hammer away at a blue deck's energy and just discard all those good plentiful energy that they develop early on in the game, because blue is meant to build up energy, get big cards out, blow your opponent away. But that prevents that. So then you got the last card here, which is Denial of Hope. Again, you get 4 of these, so I'm going to put the other 3 down here. This is an extra card that is a counterplay. If your leader card is red, which King Vegeta is a red leader, it is not a green leader. Keep that in mind. Even though this is emphasizing a red-green play style, it is only a red leader. I'll show you that in a second. But we'll read this off. If your leader card is red, if the battle card your opponent is playing has 20,000 power or less, it is placed in its owner's drop area instead of being played. So you play this as a counter. There we go. As a counter, as soon as your opponent plays a card down, as soon as it hits that play area up here in the battle area, you can counter that. If it's got 20,000 or less, they immediately discard it, and boom, it's gone. Super, super good, just early denial of hope. But it is a good early denial of weaker cards that your opponent can just whittle you away. It actually is a counter to a deck specifically like this, because this deck is designed to have weaker cards out on the field quicker, whereas this can just deny most of that. It just completely counters most of their early game. So then again, I'm going to emphasize this. King Vegeta is a red leader, as we can see in the bottom corner here. Please. SD09 ST. That is where you can find most of the cards that actually have a questionable color. If you don't know for sure, especially if leader cards, they don't have any kind of cost in the top corner here, so it's maybe hard to tell. Even on the other side, you can still see that it is red. So King Vegeta is a red leader. He is not a green and red leader. And you can see here, this is the Faded Kaioken Son Goku. You can see clearly that, or you could see blurry, that the, oh man, that's bugging me. It's got it up here. Oh, there we go. It's got it up here, red and green. It's got it down there on the card number, red and green. Jeez, sorry about that. So that's a general overview of what's going on here. King Vegeta, you pull early game cards from, you sacrifice a life to search your deck to get one of these cards, and or to pull a King Vegeta's Dynasty to place that into the field area after you pay them the energy cost, because it doesn't play, it just adds it to your hand, which is, you know, means you got to have some energy to start with. But once you get 3 energy and this card out on the field, which it may be a bummer if you have both of these in your life, which is why it's a real bummer that when you get this deck, it only comes with 2. So if you're really looking for pushing this deck to the limit, you may have to buy 2 of these decks and or buy these cards separately. I don't necessarily say that's a bad thing, but these are probably going to be expensive if you try to buy them separately, just because they're super good in this deck, and this deck would most likely want 4 of these in here to give you the best chance of awakening. Because if you don't have these cards, he actually can't awaken. There's no possible way to get him to do it. It won't work. So, with that said, if Reed has any other things to add, he can come over and he can reassess. But I just wanted to give you the big general overview of all the cards that came in here. Especially there's two cards from the Assault of the Saiyans deck that set, that came in this. So those are new. Probably haven't seen much play yet, but they are good. Like I said, energy denial here and early game denial here.
Another thing that that I want to point out is that this doesn't barrier doesn't affect that card because it doesn't say choose a card. It just says when it's played, it goes straight to the drop area. Yep.
I thought barrier had to do with. Yeah, so barrier would be choosing a
Yeah,
card
whenever it says choose a card, that's when barrier kicks in.
because barrier specifically states when this card is chosen or it cannot be chosen as a result of it having barrier. So that's not choosing a card, that's literally just the effect. When it lands, you play that, it goes to the drop area. So, I hope everybody enjoyed me stumbling over the overview of this. I have a plan out right now that like I'm slowly reading and kind of going off cue to explain certain things, and that's why I'm stuttering a lot. But we push through. This is a good starter deck for a lot of obviously beginners out there, especially that it's really cohesive. Everything here is super cohesive, very easy to understand, and apparently with that new expert deck, that's a kicker. We've looked over it a little bit, and we'll be getting to you about that next week. So, anything else to add, Reed?
Nope.
So, if you've enjoyed this video, drop a like, and we will catch you guys next week when we go over the expert deck. Is it XP01?
Yes, I think so.
XP01. So we've got SD09 here. We will be going XP over XP01 next week, which will be the Super Saiyan Kaba and Vegeta deck.
Yes.
It is the first combo starter deck where you actually have two specific characters on one card. So get excited. And I don't know if you can see that in the background, we will have more box opening videos that weren't on our schedule. So look forward to that too. All right, everybody, have a good one, and catch you next time.